Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Medicare Cafe pre-chat. That was really good. You know those, have you seen those people who, like, they have, like, beatboxing competitions?
Yes.
Honestly, wildly impressive. My child, he's not a toddler, my child tries it. I'm so annoyed at all times.
No, beatboxing and making music noises with your mouth might be the most infuriating thing on the planet.
Really? You don't like it?
No. I know Sadie.
You said it's so calm.
Yeah,
No.
was not acapella.
It is acapella groups. Sadie has beef with acapella groups.
Yeah.
She hates them.
Yeah, no, she makes a very valid point, and they're not great.
Wait, what's the point that she makes? I think they're awesome. Have you not
That
seen?
they're horrible. Just sing the words.
Show? What's Anna Kendrick?
Oh, no, terrible.
What is that show called? Pitch Perfect.
Won't help you figure it out. Hate it.
Listen, we have started all of 30-something seconds ago, 27 seconds ago, and you're already being a bully.
Yeah.
Well, on that
That's kind of what I do.
Also, welcome everybody. If you are watching the recorded version of this, we do start the show at 10 o'clock, sometimes sharp, usually kind of flat. And it is. He's such a sweetheart. And so just letting you all know, if you want to watch.
It's my baby.
So. Out of context, just the picture, like the zoom in of her face, that looked real evil.
Yeah.
Let me see the picture, like zoom in of the face again. She's for sure gonna be the villain in someone's story, and I'm really excited for her. She's gonna be a little heartbreaker. Yeah. She kind of already is. But all that to say, it's now gonna be 10 o'clock in a second. So if you were waiting for me to tell me, like, how much do I need to fast forward to get to the good stuff?
No.
Is now. Before we get started, Clayton, how are you? It's been a little bit
I'm
since
good.
You've been on the cafe.
I'm good. I do feel like it's been a while.
It has been a while.
I think my hair was long last time I was here.
It was. You do look a little bit more cleaned up. It cracks me up, the gray in your beard. It's literally just a stripe.
Yeah.
Like you have a gray stripe. I also have a gray stripe in my beard.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Just a reminder that you're 1 year younger than me. Exactly.
A solid 365 days makes a huge difference. But welcome to...
We said fast forward till just now we're good.
Now things are happening. Welcome to the Medicare Cafe today. We are talking about the client perspective, client point of view, basically talking about the client experience. We've hit on this topic a few times leading up to AEP, but it is incredibly important to remember that, like, yes, we're swamped, we're stressed. This is going to be, an intensive AEP for a lot of us. Not all of us. We can kind of get into that here in a second. But basically making sure that at the end of the day, remembering that it is still an exchange of a service, and we need to make sure we are giving the attention to our clients outside of just, like, getting the job done.
Yeah, it's like take a step out of, like, the normal prep mode of, like, products and certifications and supplies and yada and be like, what is our clients going to experience this year outside of their plan?
Here's what's going on, guys. Clients experience is everything. This is something that I know it's like, I've heard this from other books and things like that, but I always remember it from Joanne Ray. People will not remember what you said. They will not remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. So it doesn't matter if you saved them a bunch of money. It doesn't matter if you got them on the right coverage. If the client experience, and honestly by experience, I mean their expectations. If a client expectation wasn't met, then they're going to be and like they're not going to refer you. For example, we know how busy you're going to be this AEP, but if you're telling everybody how busy you are, how swamped you are, how exhausted you are, I can almost guarantee you're going to get no referrals, because that person's going to think they're doing you a favor by sending their friends somewhere else because you're too overwhelmed to handle them. Like, it's like they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to put more pressure on them to think that they have to take care of my friends too. So it's just like understanding that, like, you meant nothing by it, but if you lead on how overwhelmed or how exhausted you are, you're really shooting yourself in the foot for more long-term gain.
Yeah, I know Carrie's talks about it a lot of clients filling out applications, be like, oh, I was just trying to do you a favor. Yeah. I just went ahead and took care of that. Be like, no.
I don't get paid for the advice. I get paid for the app. So making sure you're not giving out free advice by that.
Right.
No, huge. And again, I'm a firm believer that success is only measured by how well expectations are met. And so that's what a lot of it is we're talking about this year, is like your client's experience, especially if you're one of those areas, one of those pockets in the countries that is experiencing massive massive disruptions, which of course this is the biggest SAR year we've seen in a decade.
Wow. Yeah.
At least. This is my 12th AEP. I've not seen an SAR year the way that this year has been. Some areas are still like, yeah, like if St. Louis, they're all like, what's this disruption you're talking about? Versus Kansas City or in Kansas, which is one of the top areas of SARs in the country. So if you are in one of those high area disruptions, you're having to figure out how to speed up your appointments, speed that up. If your clients feel like they're rushed, if your clients feel like that, then they're thinking that even though you did all the right things, they didn't have a good experience.
Yeah, I think for the most part, our point today is going to be like, you can do everything else perfect. You can set up the appointment, you can switch them to a plan that's going to save them a lot of money or get them a lot better coverage. And if their experience doesn't go smoothly, or if they see, you know, like the piles of paperwork somewhere or like a burning fire in the background, they're going to be like, I don't really want to send more people
Trash
here.
can fire. Yeah. So let's break this up into 3. Well, I have it here. Where did I put it? Okay, we're going to break this up into 3 areas. We're going to talk about if you're face-to-face with a person, if you are over the phone to a person, or if you are in your office versus in a third area, either their home or like a Panera or something. Let's dig into it. So let's talk about what it looks like in your office. We've talked about this a lot. If you are meeting people in your office, one of the biggest blind spots to an agent or agency is actually the point where like the agent's not even involved in yet. And that can be the waiting room experience. Even if like you don't have a wait, even if you're just like, they walk in, they see me, I don't have a receptionist, it's just me there. Understanding of like what, I hate this word, but what vibe is your office getting, right? What is like when you walk in? One of the biggest, best pieces of advice I ever got was from Dan Mangus way back in the day, and it was sit in your waiting room for 10 minutes without a cell phone, and like, what magazines are you reading? Are you noticing water stains somewhere? How uncomfortable is your chair? Are there smells? Another thing that people don't like to talk about is your receptionist. You know, sometimes your receptionist may not put out the nicest vibe or the most accommodating vibe, and like they are your first impression. So making sure your first impressions team is feeling happy and happy to be at work, because if they're not, it will show.
For sure. I think personally the 2 big ones for me are, what's the chair situation like?
Chair sitch.
Because depending on how long that wait gets, if it gets a little extended, if the chair's not comfortable, I'm going to want to get up, I'm going to get antsy, I might leave. 2 is smells. That's like the first thing. Blind. Yeah, like I'll walk into a place, if it smells funky, be like, all right, don't really love this.
I don't want this.
But like,
God, isn't it crazy how much smell adds to an experience?
Yeah, it's wild.
Like literally, it can make or break the experience.
For sure. Like just think about anywhere you go, if it stinks, how long are you gonna stay?
I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not.
You're like, even if
and I'm
you know,
not
like,
thinking about anything else. If I'm sitting next to somebody who has body odor, I don't care. I'm not thinking about anything else other than how do I get out of the situation.
That's nice to know. You're right here next to me. I'm doing all right.
You're doing okay. I'll let you know otherwise.
But I really think those are like the 2 big things for me as like just a buyer of like, do I feel comfortable here? If the smell's weird and the chairs aren't great, like I'm getting out of there.
Yeah.
Other things that like organizational stuff, like if you look at my desk right now, it's not super welcoming. It's a madhouse.
Office.
So it's like just the kind of organization is all your stuff kind of looks like you put it there on purpose. And then I know you put soundproofing on there.
That's huge.
That's
and people don't
like
think about it. That is something that a lot of people don't. Like if I'm in your office and I can hear the receptionist the entire time, 1, that's distracting, and 2, I'm really self-conscious about divulging personal information, because if I can hear them, they can hear me.
For sure. Yeah, and that's just one of those like uncomfortable things of like, it just feels like someone's always in the room if you can hear someone else. Like just any of the meeting rooms in here. It's like we have those meeting rooms tucked away, so they're not next to where everyone's talking and doing business.
Isn't it just, it's just the little things that add to the major experience. I put on there snacks, teas, coffees, things like that. That's one that we share the same eye doctor, and they have a whole coffee set up in the waiting room of the eye doctor. So like it is clean. It's all this stuff that like, you know, clean, sanitary, smells nice, hand sanitizer stations everywhere. But just like that added thing of like, oh, I can like while I'm waiting, like my experience is really positive from the moment I walk in, so that I'm already in a good mood by the time I actually see my doctor.
It's like homey.
It's homey. I love that. It is homey. And that is important, especially whenever my stomach is growling. Are you hearing that? Are you hearing that microphone? But it is an experience that like when you're rushing through everything else, when everything else is up to here and you're trying to get, uncomfortable conversations, making them feel at home in that space is really, really a solid idea. And then again, setting expectations. That actually happens before you even get to the appointment. Making sure they understand, like, hey, I know we usually have time to talk about your family, your kids, your vacation. This year, your appointment time is going to be about 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes if we can get that done.
And I really like also with that setting expectation, because you're shrinking kind of the personal time. Mm-hmm. If you've got some of those added touches like a coffee station or snacks, be like, make sure you get comfortable, get a snack, get a drink. I'll meet with you, and then we'll send you.
That's a really good point. The personal touch doesn't have to come from a person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That experience doesn't actively have to mean that you or your front of house staff doesn't mean that they have to be actively doing anything. So there's a way to accommodate that without becoming really busy in that. We actually work with an agency. Now their office is just wild, and I know they're probably watching today, but they run their office during AEP like a DMV, and it's literally like take a number, show up when you can, we'll get to everybody as they come in. They do not set appointments. They actually hired somebody they called a hospitality host, and they go through and like the hospitality host would do several things. One, they kind of help you fact check. They like give you clipboards that you fill out information before your appointment even starts, so that you're not spending time during the appointment doing that. But then they like made cookies, right? They had like they had like different TV shows going on. They brought people like a service, like they brought people water or tea or anything like that. I think that's extreme. I don't think most agencies have to do that, but it was just like so many people did not mind waiting and did not, even though that experience to me, I mean, like, I don't want that. Was like an enjoyable experience, had games, things like that. The last thing I would say in your waiting room is make sure that like what work is your waiting room doing for you? So, what are you advertising like other agents on the TV channel? Like if you're just watching TV, you have no control over what's being advertised. So having like videos, you can have Medicare one-on-one explainer videos going on that you've created or we've created for you. Different types of advertisements. I know one agency has signs everywhere that talks about like, hey, do you have, what are you doing with your 401k? What are you doing with your simple IRA Roth? And questions like that, because they're trying to push annuities. So seeing what around you in your office is doing the cross-selling and doing the warm-up work for you.
Yeah, like what content have you already made that you can reuse here in your waiting room?
100%.
Like, have you made videos explaining these kind of things or done like a podcast, whatever it might be? Throw that on somewhere. Get it on a Bluetooth speaker in the corner of just having that going,
Yeah.
Something where it's calming, kind of quiet, getting that going, so they're getting settled.
I like it. Look at us. The next one I wanted to talk about was, I keep jumping around. Are you dizzy? I am too. Not in office. And that's not the same thing as virtual. What I mean not in office is that you are still face-to-face, but you are not in your domain. Maybe you have less control over your environment. Maybe you're in their home or you're in a third location like a Starbucks or a Panera. Yeah. And what can you do to kind of make sure, even though you have less control, enhance that client experience during that? So, and remember, this is slide number 3. I keep just clicking everywhere.
I'll give you like a sign down
Thank
here.
You. God bless. Are you prepared for when things go wrong? Things like paper application, Wi-Fi hotspots, external batteries, things like that. Because when you don't have control, you have to prep for the unpreparables.
So this is where you need to become a prepper. This is where you need to have like a go bag, right?
First of all, they're bug out bags.
Bug out bag, go. I'm not a prepper. I'm not one.
Me neither.
But
to be clear.
I know you all are shocked.
I have 20 gallons of fresh water in my trunk right now. No, I don't. You used to be a cold-looking guy.
I bought that for a second.
Not the time. I came across very convincing. Not the time. Be a prepper. Go ahead.
Be a prepper. So, like, have a bag in your car with those kind of extra batteries that you might need. If you've got, like, we had an issue this morning with like a keyboard not working. Just having like a backup keyboard could be something that you might need. Or
funny, but
alternate
true.
uses of things. Like, does your iPad have like a Bluetooth case that has a keyboard on it? Like,
Yeah.
Just random preparing things of like batteries, extra food, extra paperwork, pencils, whatever you might need, having that in a bag in your car. So whenever you go into these appointments, you're set up and ready to go.
Can I tell you an area where I learned this the hard way?
Yes, please.
It was early in my career. The company had just started letting me like speak publicly. Some people call that public speaking. And we were doing the National Senior Sales Summit. It was like the third year. We were still doing it in Columbia. So it would have been like in 2015, maybe 2014, 2015. And I had literally built this presentation. I remember exactly what it was about. It was I think it was the 7-step selling process and overcoming objections. I built this entire presentation. I was so excited about it. I made notes for my presentation. We get there. Apparently, the Holiday Inn Executive Center in Columbia, Missouri, not the most reliable for technology. I get up there. All of my notes are just notes. I have no idea what slides were next. It was just like, oh, here are some things just to kind of like bullet points remind you. The slide deck quit working. So I had the next 45 minutes to fill with no slide decks and no real notes on like what points came next, like the order of my presentation. That's and there was just more like the information was on the slide. The notes of just like, hey, don't forget to say this about that point was what I had. So like, just reminder, like I've never since then have never showed up to a presentation without the notes on the actual slide deck because of that situation.
Yeah, I think we even print them out. And just have that as a backup option.
100%.
Like we love our iPads.
I have PTSD about it. And so again, it's just preparing for the unexpected when you don't have that control. Organize with information on hand. I put this on here. If you're not familiar with Senior Marketing Specialist live chat feature, get familiar with Senior Marketing Specialist live chat feature. What it is, it allows you, it's just, again, go to our team, smsteam.net. There's a little button in the bottom right-hand corner. And between 9 and 4 p.m., 9 a.m., 4 p.m. You have the ability to talk to us, literally live chat. So, and when a lot of agents use this is because like, oh, you're asking me a question that like, I don't have that with me about a carrier, about Medicare, about underwriting, about benefits. You can just act like you're doing some research on your computer and you're actually talking to us we have dozens of people here. We have millions of resources here. Just get on your little computer. Yeah. You don't even have to interrupt the phone or interrupt the appointment to get on the phone. Just live chat us.
Do me a favor. Pop on there and just say hi to my guy, Sean. He's probably on there right now. I'm sure he is.
Okay, everybody go on there. I want to see the chaos. Everybody go on there and go to smsteam.net, go to the bottom right-hand corner, and just pop on and say, Clayton told me to do this.
Just say, hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Clayton said, don't do so.
And again, you get us as a live person. We know Sean's on there right now. So get familiar with that. Appointment starts when you get out of your car. This is something that I think a lot of people don't recognize. We used to teach this when we did door-to-door knocking. Just some people just call that door knocking. But it was like when you get out of your car, it's not like your warm-up isn't the walk into the restaurant, the walk into their home. Your warm-up is the drive there. When you get out of your car, making sure that is the moment where you were on performance. You were on. Making sure that it's very easy to recognize you. I always recommend name tags when you are not in your office. You always have a name tag. Always having a copy of your license ready to go for reliability. Dressing professional. I'm not saying you have to wear a business coat, but I really like people who wear, like the people particularly, polos with logos on them, with your logo on them. If you have other logos, like the carrier logos, you could do that. It does build credibility, but it gets confusing whenever you're wearing an Aetna.
So do you work for Aetna?
Yeah, you're wearing an Aetna polo, but you're talking about United Healthcare. That gets confusing. So invest in your own logo, invest in your own polos.
I really like those. We just recently got those name tags that are like magnet on there.
I love a magnet
name tag. I hate putting a sticker name tag on myself. And it just feels kind of like, this might sound bad, but it feels like a little childish whenever I put one of those stickers on because my handwriting's terrible, so that's probably why. But like to have a professionally made magnet name tag is a clutch investment.
Terry wrote a fun message saying that he had an Anthem manager told him she went to an office on the second floor, which is something to keep in mind too. And the area was so dangerous. She's wondering why the agent didn't have a gun and why the agent was under Anthem. So literally, I have been in those offices where I'm just like, how How do you don't get a lot of walk-in traffic.
Right.
I'll say it like that. You don't get a lot of walk-in traffic. Been in those situations, but it does bring up like a second floor. How accessible is your office? And like, let me tell you this. We had a Essence in office a couple weeks ago. They were talking about like hosting events, third-party locations. He was talking about like the location. I know this is a duh statement, but the location is so important of where you go because if it's even a little bit inconvenient, no one's going to that.
Yeah.
So he was talking about the VFW. Our VFW is off of Business Loop and then tucked behind a building. It's not hard to get to. It's very accessible, but you just don't see it on a normal drive. So he says any event that's done at our VFW is empty.
Yeah, like, because it sounds like a good place.
It
like
sounds like a
VFWs
perfect
are usually
place,
good.
100%.
But our location's not great.
Our location, and it's not like it's in a bad area. It's just the fact that like it's not a familiar building because it's just kind of tucked away.
Yeah, it's not a road you normally go down.
Mm-hmm.
I like those ones that are just like slightly off the path, like the executive center that we were talking about. Like it's just right off the main road.
Well,
there.
it's you see it from I-70.
Right.
So like that was like it's a right hand, another right hand, or the boulder. I have hit that boulder. You know that story? When the sales summits, I drug the side of my car down that boulder. Who puts a
I
rock
ride with you everywhere.
on a corner? Anyway,
I'm terrified now.
it's time for another day. The last one is going to be virtual appointments or just like eliminating the appointment altogether. Number one, and I know this, be prepared for all levels of tech and don't make any assumptions. Sometimes you will offend younger people if you're trying to teach them what Chrome is. They've been like, I was an executive of my company. I've been doing this for the last 20 years. You're insulting me. Versus like some people who I know, I'm going to pick fun on him really quick. Clint Geyer, who is our executive vice president of senior benefit services, is a young man in his 40s and is one of the most technologically illiterate people I've ever met. And I love him so very much. But and he'll tell you, because I don't do tech. I don't do any of that stuff, even though he is an executive in his early 40s doing this stuff. So just don't make any assumptions. In fact, it's absolutely worth it and in your best interest to do things like when you're working with Medicare Center, take screenshots and make kind of your own client-facing walkthrough in your language. Integrity is making one. Medicare Center is coming out with client walkthroughs of everything, but it kind of helps to make it in your language. Just some easy guides to kind of help people who are on varying degrees of technological awareness.
And if you're tech savvy, there's a plugin that you can add to Chrome that's called Scribe.
We are big fans of Scribe.
It's awesome.
We are.
It will like map the screen for you, and you can click on things. It'll tell you exactly what you're clicking on and build you a nice PDF.
It uses AI. It's freaking amazing. We use it all of our, like, if we do like certification walkthrough guides or website walkthrough guides, we do all of that with Scribe. It takes screenshots. It shows exactly where you clicked, if you clicked right or left. It's incredible.
It's great. Yeah. So check that out. That's definitely nice
advice. Good little nugget there. Webcams are ideal. The number one reason why people struggle with virtual appointments is because so much of language is conveyed through non-verbal cues, and also the trust factor. It's a lot easier to trust a person when you're seeing them. You're seeing their smiling face. You're talking to them in this capacity versus the voice on the phone. So if you have the ability, I would highly invest in good webcams and good lighting, because you don't want to look like you're in some terrorist basement. Like, you want good lighting. Probably not a funny joke today. Anyways, so making sure that you're... Do what?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay. Anyways, probably want to make sure that you are, again, offering that and also helping people navigate, like, and saying like, hey, you don't have to turn on your webcam. People get really scared. You don't have to turn yours on. You can if you want to, but you don't have to turn on your webcam. I just like to turn on mine, and I'll pair that with screen sharing.
For sure. Yeah. On the webcam front, I'll go back to that really quick. Make sure that you're constantly like updating your computer and looking at those things, because the drivers on webcams go out of date. My laptop, my personal laptop that I use, that goes out of date constantly for whatever reason, and I'm constantly having to go in and making sure my cam's working.
There's nothing worse than doing that while somebody's waiting for you to turn it on.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is just not going to work today.
I think that these appointments, virtual appointments, just require more prep work.
Yeah, for sure.
And like you would think that that'd be the opposite, but I really do. I think like the effort that you're not putting into all the office stuff and all the, like the in-person experience, that work needs to go into the preparation to make sure everything goes off without a hitch.
For sure. And that's why I, generally speaking, I'd recommend like a external webcam versus the one built into your laptop, just so you have options. You'll be able to use that one. Most of them have little tripods or sit right on top of your computer, so they work really nice. But just in case that goes bad, then you've got the one on the laptop screen or other way around.
Yeah. Reminder, if you are going to be using like Zoom or Skype or things like that, just remember that if you're not purchasing those, oftentimes those are hackable. They don't have security. So if you are, since you're going to be talking about HIPAA information, it is recommended that you use something that does require them to have a password to enter in that meeting room. And also having the ability to meet longer than 45 minutes if necessary. So just keep that in mind. It is better to use a paid version of something like Google Meetings, Skype, Ring Central is what we use in Office that has password capability.
For sure.
Yeah, no, we kind of hit on that. Screen, yeah. That's it. I think the thing is we're just kind of, there is no limitation, right, on good consumer experience. There is no limitation on it. There is no rules on it. It's all about like some of it's like getting really, really creative, you know. I think that's really fun. You can do what you want to do, but start implementing some of those things now. So come AEP, you're not trying new things, trying to fix things, trying to incorporate things, making your staff uncomfortable, asking them to do things they're not used to in a time where things are already really heightened.
For sure.
And like check your technology. Go ahead and buy that extra webcam. Go ahead and buy that external battery. Go ahead and just get all of that stuff handled. Learn Medicare Center, learn Client Sync, learn the Carrier e-apps, learn GTL's app, learn all of it so that during AEP, you're confident going into that and your client's going to have a really positive experience. And then always have a backup plan. Always, always, always have a backup plan.
For sure.
Now you say something.
Words.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Any question, comments, concerns, threats, and or promises, let us know. It cannot be understated this year. My ears hurt really bad.
I told you I would punch them.
Thank you. It cannot be understated this year that it's going to be really easy to think about your schedule. It's going to be really easy to think about the carriers. It's going to be really easy to think about so many things that pay your bills that you're relying on this year. Do not let client experience and client enjoyment go out the backside. If nothing else, that is going to be the most single important thing this year, is making sure that the client has a positive experience in your office.
For sure. We're talking about ways to gain people during this crazy AEP, and referrals is always going to be the biggest one. So if they're having a good experience, you're much more referable.
You know what? That's such a great point, because I really, truly feel like OEP this year is going to be as wild as AEP was, knowing as well that AEP also is extending, honestly, through February because of all these SARs. So put in the legwork during AEP, knowing that the better the client experience is, the higher you're going to produce in Q1 because of all those referrals and all those reasons to come back to you. Because if the experience was bad and I'm like, oh, I don't like my coverage, January is not working out the way I thought, but I didn't like meeting with my agent, I'm going to try to fix it myself versus going back to fix something or expectation or things like that.
And that's when clients start calling carriers, and that's when complaints start to happen.
Exactly. So, but again, I can't say it enough. Please, please, please look at I'm going to look at our live chat room to see if people are freaking out. I don't see it yet, but please use our live chat feature. Jump on there right now. Test, just like I'm telling you to test your technology, test your staff, test your office. Make sure that you are looking at our live chat feature. It is wildly awesome. Will save you so much time. You'll oftentimes even get faster turnarounds because if our phone lines are busy, we always still will have somebody on live chat. So sometimes, you can get to somebody more quickly in that case. Just check it out. Try it.
I love it.
Any questions, comments, concerns, threats, and or promises? Now's the time, y'all. Throw it in the box. Shoot me a text message as well. Again, this is my text line, so even if you're watching the recorded version of this, you just want to test it out to see if I actually will respond, do it. I am here. You haven't mentioned about how buff my arms look lately.
No, because I'm jealous.
Well, the lighting in here is not great because it's all I.
No, don't you need like darker light, like the
I know.
shadowy
That's what I'm
boys?
saying. Like this, too much
bright.
Too much bright.
Alex,
I can walk the dog.
Alex,
How big is your beach ball? This big. Okay. Until next time, guys. Have fun.
Make money
And give impeccable service. Thanks, y'all.
See ya.